This is goodgirlradio.com.
Having those honest, real, transparent conversations.
Get the show. And I'm like, this is Wyclef. I'm not about to get up there with him. He was like, man, if you don't get you on this stage.
This is goodgirlradio.com. I'm Cameo King, your host, Good Girl Radio, where every good girl has a confession. In studio today, we have Brandon Williams. That sounds like a very common name, but the person, he isn't common at all. It does though.
No, it is a very common name. It actually kind of makes it hard for me. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about it.
I think I got a cousin named Brandon Williams.
See?
But this Brandon Williams, he's known in the music industry. He's known across this nation and across this state, the state of Michigan. He is a producer, and that's only a slice of what he does and who he is. He like, what is it, like 20 instruments, 15 instruments? You know how to play?
I have no idea.
Okay. Okay. But he's a Grammy-nominated producer. He's worked with the likes of Morris Day and the Time, Kim Burrell, the Isley Brothers, Music Soul Child. I don't know all of these names, but I feel like my mom knows some of these names.
Okay.
Martha Reeves, Jonathan Butler, and that's just to name a few. And we were talking even before the show, you worked with Janet Jackson to an extent.
Yeah, the Demita Joe album that I guess it came out in 2005 or so. Before Jermaine Dupri came in and kicked everybody off of the record.
Is that what happened?
That's exactly what happened. Like, the album was pretty much done, and I was asked to do a remix. I guess one of the producers got kicked off, so the vocals were still sitting. So they was like, well, we need you to come and, we just need your musical take behind what she's singing. So I did that, and he just came and just pushed everybody off the record and produced the whole album himself.
Oh, wow.
And then it turned into what it turned into. But we won't talk about
We're
that.
not. I love Janet. I was telling you, I think
Janet's great.
she seems like she just smells good, like regardless, like
Probably so.
just flowers, just walk.
2 hours off the stage, just flowers. Yeah.
And you're also a protege of the legendary producer Michael Powell.
Michael's amazing.
And some of his work.
Anita Baker, that's all that needs to be said, really. Exactly. That's Michael Powell.
All day.
Anything from Rapture, Sweet Love, all of that stuff.
And so you work directly under Michael Powell.
Right.
Awesome. Awesome. What an experience. And I've seen this time and time again that your mission is to bring back classic R&B by any means necessary.
Yeah, I just want to bring good music back to the marketplace, period. And not that it's not out there, but it's not at the forefront, of the industry. We turn on the radio, and me personally, I turn it right back off. Or I just don't turn it on at all. But it's just not enough good music being heard by the masses.
And when you talk about good music, and when I think of classic R&B, I think of, the first thing that comes to my mind, honestly, is 112.
I can dig that.
Boys to Men.
Exactly. I can dig
era.
all of that. Yeah, 90s R&B, even 80s R&B, it was a ton of good stuff in the 80s and 90s, and then the 2000s kind of came around and stuff kind of started to suck. And it just, and
I want to be an artist in 2000.
Yeah, and it's been getting worse. It's just getting worse and worse and worse ever since. So. And
we're going to get into your confession, but I do. So what makes music worse? What makes music bad? It seems like that would be subjective.
Sometimes it is subjective, but sometimes it's not. Lyrical content is one of the things. I'm just into substance. I come from a school of listening to people like Earth, Wind, and Fire, where they were actually talking about something. Or, even people like Barry White and Marvin Gaye, where you had the social and political, consciousness, that stuff was there. But now, even speaking to something like making love to a woman, Michael Frank's case in point is probably the biggest freak.
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Really, like, you listen to his music and it's all of these implications, but he's not really saying anything. But now we're just talking about, it's just out there. And I'm not going to say what the guys say on these songs, but it's just out there.
They just say it.
They just say it.
I'm
about to do this to you. I'm about to do that to you. But, but 30 years ago, it was a way that you could kind of craft that.
It took some skill.
It took, and that's what it really is. It took skill to do that.
And a literary like giants and just the artwork and just even the ability to know how to pull certain words and what that meant to people past what its actual intentions were. And I was reading, I don't know, an article somewhere off of some website, but they were talking about the difference between music now and music then, and how it truly affects, the brain of a child that's developing because, they aren't forced to begin to think differently. And I remember, what was it? It was a song, and I think my cousin, she's gonna kill me. I was such a literal child, and there were songs I didn't understand, and it was a song by a group called As Yet.
Okay.
And they were singing, he was talking about making love to a woman, and he said, I saw the sun, the moon, the mountains, and the river. And I asked him, how did he see all that? And then, and at the point in time, I still didn't understand the concept of making love. And he has this one line, he's very direct. He says, I was inside of you. And I was like, I asked my cousin, I said, what does he mean? And she was like, oh my gosh, where's your mama? It's time to go. It's time to go. But, so we know a little bit about Brandon. So before you became, the Brandon Williams as the world knows it, it seemed like it may have taken. Why are you laughing?
It's just because that whole the Brandon Williams thing. Like,
you don't
to
like
me,
that?
I mean, no, it's okay. But to me, I'm just me. I'm just a regular cat. But it's crazy that people see me as that. But I mean, it comes with the territory.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. I can't wait till someone says, before you came, the cameo king. So this regular cat that I'm talking
just a
to.
regular cat. Yeah.
Before you decided to make this transition, you had a couple of things going on in terms of actually making that decision, and that actually leads to your confession.
Right.
So what is your confession?
That I was always in a place to believe that after high school, you either go to the service or you go to college, and then you just kind of, do your thing from there and work for somebody else. But the confession, I guess the confession portion of it is that I won't say it's stupid, but it was stupid for me. It didn't work for me, and I saw that it didn't work. Kind of early on, I went to college literally for probably 2 or 3 months, and I was like, this is not the thing for me. So, I dropped out, and I think I probably went and parked at the school or around the corner for like 2 months after that, just so my mom would think that I was going to school. I just couldn't bring myself to tell her.
Does your mom know this now?
She knows.
Okay.
She knows.
This is official. She's just learning on Good Girl Radio right now.
Yeah, she knows. Well, I don't know if she knows about the part about me going to like.
So it is official.
Yeah, I don't think she knows that part. Of course she knows I dropped out, but yeah, I was literally, 2 months out, just going wherever I was going, acting like I was going to school. So,
was it something, what made you decide to drop out?
I knew more than my teacher did.
What school is this?
I was at Wayne County Community College, and I got really frustrated because the stuff that he was teaching me, in the basic music theory classes, I had taught myself at 6, 7 years old, 10 years old, whatever it was. But I'm like, this is just not it. I'm out of here. And, then I kind of came to the realization that the only reason that I would go to school and get a degree in that is if I wanted to teach. But I never really wanted to teach music. But then the flip side of that is that I had already taught on a college level starting at 15. I was teaching music at Highland Park Community College when I was 14, 15, 16 years old. So I'm like, well, if somebody really wants me to teach, then they'll just, they'll let me teach. But it just wasn't my thing.
So I think at 18 and 19, we are, in a sense, to a certain extent, excited for life.
Right.
Somewhat naive.
Very. I was very naive.
But also, we have all of this energy, and the possibilities seem endless. And there are very few things, in my humble opinion, that can really be thrown at you if at that point in time, you have all this energy. So go ahead, throw your punches. I'm good because I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
Right.
And so the question I have for you is, at what point did you begin to question that decision that you made in terms of dropping out, or did you ever?
I didn't. I never questioned it. I just kind of made the decision and just stuck with it. And, you know, my parents, they were very upset. You know, my mom was highly upset. My dad, you know, she called him over and was like, we need to do something about this. You know, so we're sitting in the front room at the house, and everybody's fussing, arguing. You know, then my other dad comes in. You know, he used to play in a band years ago. And he said, look, y'all can't tell this boy what to do. He's 18, 19, you know, now, so you just gonna have to let him make his decision. And they didn't support me at all for those first couple years, and that kind of hurt. You know, it's like, this is what I want to do. And the biggest reasons, I think, you know, because my dad, was he in college at that point? Because he did end up going to school, getting his degree, but I'm not sure if he was in college at that point. And my mom, she never went to college. She didn't finish high school. So, you know, I guess they were kind of trying to, you know, you need to be the one. You know, but it's like, you can't live through me. You know, your time is, you know, what you did is what you did. And, you know, and not that that's necessarily a bad thing, because, I mean, there's a ton of people who've dropped out of college, dropped out of high school, you know, got middle school educations, elementary school, you know, educations that are really successful in life. So, but, you know, it's just, you can't live through me. Let me do what I'm going to do. You know, but I remember they came to see me. I started playing at, I was playing at Shane Park, and I was probably 21 at the time. And the looks on both of their faces when they saw me doing that and really enjoying what I love to do, it kind of, I guess the switch just kind of flipped for both of them. And that was really cool. But, you know, they've been supporting me ever since. Yeah.
That's good to hear, but in terms of making it between that patch between 18 and 21.
Yeah, it was rough.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was rough.
So on the flip side of the break, we're going to talk about some of those rough places.
Okay.
So we'll be right back. This is goodgirlradio.com. All right, you're back listening to goodgirlradio.com. I'm Cameo King, your host. Good Girl Radio, where every good girl has a confession. But in studio today, we have a good guy. I'll call him a good guy.
I am a good guy.
But if you listen to the show, you know we're kind of, I'll call it dismantling this idea of what it means to be good.
Okay.
Because we all got issues, we all go through something.
Yeah, but we can still be good people, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Integrity, character, all that matters.
Hey, I can dig it.
All that matters.
I can dig it.
Brandon Williams in the building with us. He is a Grammy-nominated producer. He's worked with the likes of Janet Jackson, or actually worked with Janet Jackson on one of her albums until somebody came in and just pushed all his work off the table.
Get it out of here.
And he told me you told me Erykah.
Erykah smells amazing.
And I said, like, what type of amazing? Because I think that people would automatically think that she smells like a shop on the west side of Detroit.
Yeah, they would probably have shea butter
Yeah.
and not champa and that kind of stuff, but she really smells like strawberries.
I just didn't expect that to
Yeah.
go like strawberries.
Yeah, she smells like strawberries.
Okay.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. He's also worked with the likes of Morris Day and The Time, Kim Burrell, Regina Bell, Martha Reeves, Raheem Devon, and that's just to name a few. And also Wyclef Jean and the Fugees. That's amazing.
That was really cool. I was actually kind of thrown into that situation, you know, where I was performing live with him. I was playing for Savior's Day in Chicago back in maybe 2012, 11, something like that. And I was playing for Elijah Muhammad's son, Rasul. Wyclef was in the building, and, you know, he got up to sing, and people were looking for a musician to play behind him, but there were no piano players in the building. So my man Johnny was like, get your, you know, and I'm like, this is Wyclef. I'm not about to get up there with him. He was like, man, if you don't get you on this stage, I said, okay, well, you know. Jumped up on the stage. We did like 2 or 3 songs together. It was great. You know, we got pictures, and that's just another thing to add to the resume. So, and he was really cool.
So is that like the life of a producer when someone thinks of opportunities? And again, you're not just a producer. I want to make that clear. Like, you have so many other talents, gifts, and skills that are encompassed in you. But how does it work? Like, how do you even begin entering into that field?
Into production?
Yeah.
I guess it kind of starts, you know, and I can only speak for myself. It kind of started for me being a musician. But being a student of music is what was most important, because I listened to, you know, I listen to gospel music, I listen to jazz, I listen to R&B, I listen to rock and roll, I listen to heavy metal. I mean, it didn't matter. As long as it was good to me, that's what I was doing. And when I was in high school, I think I got a couple pieces of equipment or something like that, just kind of started putting my own stuff together. You know, I was going to make my own little makeshift album. You know, I just wanted to do something. And, you know, so that's kind of how it happened. And then people just started calling me for stuff. They heard the stuff that I had done. So they're like, well, can you do this song? Or can we remake this song? So that's kind of how I got into it. Yeah, but, you know, I'm sure some people, you know, out there, because to be a producer, you don't necessarily have to play an instrument. And it's kind of like being a director of a film. You know, you don't have to be the guy with the camera, you know, in your hand. It's just, I mean, I'm really just telling people what to do. I mean, that's, you know, that's really what it is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that's what a producer is.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I actually worked as a producer at a local CBS affiliate.
Yeah, I'll say, yeah, you should know. It's you do this, you do that. Like, that's what it is, you know, but just to make the vision, you know.
Together.
Yeah, make the vision come together.
And I love how you said being a student of music is important in terms of really cultivating that gift. And I found it amazing when looking at your, you know, everything that you've done, the kind of cross-section of different genres of people that you've worked with.
Right.
Like, how do you go from working with somebody like Kim Burrell to, you know, Wyclef Jean and the Fugees? Like, how do you like make and not to say that, you know, either or can't love the you know, the different types of music, but those are just two things that you seemingly wouldn't put together. Right,
that's true. You know, and it really goes back to being a student of the music. You know, and just kind of studying everything. You know, I'm a student of jazz, so if someone calls me to produce a jazz album, I can produce a traditional jazz record, a smooth jazz record, a gospel record, you know, and it's just because I know what the stuff is supposed to sound like. So, I mean, that's really all it is. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just being, you know, a true student of music. You know, and I mean, not everybody can do that, but everybody isn't a student of all music. You know, some people only listen to hip hop, so they, you know, they become hip hop producers because this is what they do, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, but I just like to have my hand kind of in, you know, kind of in all of it. Yeah. And
so yesterday on the show we were talking about how you it was a rough patch between that 18 and 21. Those between those years. What was the one thing that like really almost essentially took you out during that time?
and I'm gonna be really, really candid here, and I've talked about this on my blog. After graduating from high school, I went off to the service. Right after basic training, you know, actually in basic training, I got hurt, came back home. Couldn't walk for a few months, and, you know, after that, I was really scared of life. I was terrified. You know, at 18, 19 years old, you have no idea what you're doing if you're not going to college.
What does that feel like, being scared of life?
Oh, I have no, I don't know how to explain it. You know, but at that time, I'm not sure if I was maybe 19, 20, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So, you know, and I'm not even so much sure that it was that versus major depression or severe depression, just from not knowing what to do. You know, I didn't really have any direction at the time. My parents, they kind of weren't with what I wanted to do. I'm like, I want to do music. This is it. So, you know, I just kind of didn't know what to do. So I was very, very, very depressed, and just kind of off and on with that for, you know, for a number of years, probably 5 or 6 years or so. You know, and I dealt with it and did you know, all of the medication, and I mean, all of the stuff. And the way you know, so that was just a rough patch for, you know, for some years. And the way that I came out of that, though, it was, I'm guessing it was maybe 2005, 6, somewhere around in there. You know, the doctors that prescribed this one medication, and I literally sat in the basement of my home in the studio for 6 months every day and couldn't work.
Wow, off of one medication?
Off of one medication. I couldn't do anything. I said, this has got to end. You know, so it was really a mind over matter thing at that point. I'm like, I cannot let this take me out of here. Without music, you know, I mean, this is what I do. This is who I am. So it's like, you know.
How did you get to the point of your diagnosis?
I actually kind of self-diagnosed, you know, just, you know, kind of knowing a little bit about it. And, you know, in the black community, we don't really, you know, oh,
hush.
You just crazy. You just crazy.
Or pray it away.
Pray it away. Pray it away. It's nothing wrong with you.
Give me some oil.
Right. And it's like, dog, this is like, no, this is a problem. This is a problem for a lot of people, you know, black or white, it doesn't matter. You know, but in the black community, no, this is not what it is. There's not, you know, no such thing as a chemical imbalance in your mind, you know, or it's just all in your head. Like, no, it's really, you know, it's an issue. But where the heck were we going? Where were we going with that?
Oh no, I asked you to what point, in a sense, what got you to the diagnosis?
It was just a self-diagnosis. So I was just looking at signs. I, you know, jumped online and I'm like, okay, yeah, this kind of sounds like me. So I actually diagnosed myself with bipolar disorder. The doctors never said that.
So
the doctors did tell me that I was depressed, though.
So was it going between depression and, you know, just, you know, feeling like yourself? Was it?
Right. Yeah, it was, you know, feeling like myself at times, feeling real good at times, feeling bad in the other times, you know, which is signs of, you know, it could be signs of either one. You know, I mean, one day you're happy and the next day you're just down, or, you know, for a week you're down, or for 2 weeks you're down. So, you know, so I mean, I dealt with all of that stuff. But yeah, that's a real confession.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That's we're gonna leave with that one. So
yeah, you know, I mean, and I don't have a problem talking about it because you know, I mean, people need to hear it, and people need to hear that you can come out of that. You know, I haven't taken any medication since 2008. You know, so it's been a while.
And to me, when we hear the word bipolar, we automatically assume and we think crazy, maniac, someone who can't control themselves.
Right, and it's not that at all. Yeah, it's not that at all. It's just, you know, I think we all suffered from depression at some point. You know, whether you're a child, whether you're 20, 30, 40, you know, whether it's something where it keeps you from working, or, you know, it may not be that. But it may just be, I'm just down for 4 days. I just can't get it together for 4 days. You know, I mean, that's what depression is. You know, so it's, I think we all kind of go through it at some point.
And so you made a decision within yourself.
I made it, I had to.
How does that work, and how do you, because when you think of medicine, when you think of the doctor's orders, it's like you're in a sense going against the doctor's orders, and you wouldn't necessarily think will over your physicality.
Right. I prayed about it, trusted God, and you know, and that was really it. That was really it. I just really made it up in my mind, like, I cannot deal with this. You know, because it was affecting my music. And my music is way more important to me than that was. So I'm like, no, I can't do this. So yeah, let's kind of push this thing to the side and let's get back to this music thing.
Are you ever concerned that it'll kind of rear its head?
I'm not. No, I'm not. I've been good. Like, good.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you said it was getting in the way of your music, but clearly it didn't. You moved past that, and then most recently, in terms of your musical career, you debuted an album, and it was titled
12.
Why did I say 4?
I don't know.
I put the number 4.
4.
I don't know my Roman numerals.
4? Okay.
See this.
This is what it is.
Did I not read it right? Oh my gosh, I'm slightly embarrassed. Okay. Oh, it is 12. I don't know why I thought I saw a V. It still wouldn't have been 4.
No, that would have been 7.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a hug after. Yeah, I got you.
So
it's all right.
So for this album, though, you said God gave you the vision.
Yeah.
What does that look like in terms of God giving you the vision? What do you believe the intent and the purpose of?
To spread love. And to put love out in the world. The world needs healing, for sure. You know, you look at what we're going through today. You know, here in the United States and just abroad, we're going through a lot of stuff, and the world just needs love. You know, Stevie Wonder said it. So, you know, loves, I mean, you know the song. But, you know, I think that that's why I was given the vision. It's just to put more love music back in the marketplace. Yeah, it's not enough of it out there.
I read a quote one time, and it talked about that music is what feelings sound like.
Right.
And it really illuminated, you know, the intent of music, and sometimes how we try to even demonize certain music.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If it's not about this, then it's
right.
this, you know. And so for you to say that, I think it's, and also for you to be, you know, a believer and be strong in your faith.
Right, absolutely.
And to, at the same time, again, bounce between so-called worlds.
Right, right.
And I did the air quotes for you guys. But I just think that's different. And it's a unique perspective. Did you get any pushback from it, from anybody?
Oh, of course. I mean, you know, you go to church? Okay, you can't do work with this people, you know, with these people. I remember I think maybe the first time that I got some pushback from that, I don't know if it was necessarily from my mom, but I remember when I first started playing guitar at 14, took my guitar case to church, and I had a picture of, I think I had a picture of Earl Clue on there. I had a picture of Jimi Hendrix. And that's where the pushback came from the pastor. Like, okay, no, you can't play guitar at church because you got a picture of Jimi Hendrix on your guitar case. I'm like, but he was an amazing guitar player. So, you know, his whole thing is, you know, or was at that point, is that, you know, this was a guy who used drugs and all of this kind of stuff. And what he represented, I said, well, you have to really listen to his music to know what he represented. He really represented love no matter what he was doing. And I'm always the person to go against whatever, you know, some of these pastors are saying, you know, because I've seen some things in church and knew some people at church who were on drugs, and, you know, and you standing up in the pulpit or you singing in the choir, so it's no different really. You know, but are you about love? I mean, you can be about love and smoke weed. I mean, you can be about love and, I mean, just do whatever you're doing. You know, but it's kind of, you know, he was kind of just putting him down, but you can't do that,
and
you
not
know.
taking on the whole issue.
Right.
Not taking on the whole issue.
Yeah, so, you know, but yeah, I definitely got, you know, pushback, and I mean, just pushback over the years from different churches that I played at. You know, oh, you playing at Baker's Keyboard Lounge, so you can't come play at church anymore. You know, or you doing this, so you can't, you know, oh, you was out playing with that person, you can't come back here. And, you know, people, I mean, just the closed-mindedness of people in church, which is why I'm not at church now, but I don't feel that that's, you know, that's actually necessary to, you know, to be strong in your faith. I have a relationship with God, and that's really you know, that's what matters. So, yeah.
I mean, this conversation could quickly go into a different direction,
Yeah.
and some of the things that you're talking about, because I think the conversation needs to be had in terms of, and at the same time, I don't know if it needs to happen, because it is about your relationship with God in terms of what you can and what you can't do, and what you can and what you can't handle.
See, and that's what it is. It's about what you can and can't handle. I was watching an interview on Grammy.com or GrammyPro.com, and there was an interview with Ty Tribbett and Kim. And both of them were saying that, I think the point that they were making, Ty Tribbett said that he could go, maybe it was him that could go into a strip club and minister to people because he knows that he can handle that. But, you know, or it may have been Kim saying like he couldn't go in there, or maybe he could. But, you know, I mean, it's just about what you can handle, you know. But one of them was saying like, okay, I can't go in there because I wouldn't be able to handle that. So. Yeah. Yeah,
and that's what it comes down to. And I think really being led by, you know, the Holy Spirit and the Christian faith, that's one of the things that leads us and that guides us. And if you aren't constantly listening to that and constantly, you know, connecting to the Holy Spirit, you can go either way. You can be, you know, a slave to legalism,
right, and
really not continue to develop that relationship. But you could also go, you know, down a path that's going to lead you in a not so good place.
Absolutely.
So I just think it's hugely important, and I think that will probably be the center of the conversation, is this idea of legalism, and not to put down, our grandmothers or our grandfathers. I wasn't raised Kojic, but I hear some of the stories. I went to Kojic's church, and I hear some of the stories about red nail polish and lipstick.
It's crazy. Of what you got on your lips right now, you can't even go in church. You can't even go in there.
But
it's crazy.
But I to a certain extent, I respect it because their love for Christ at the time, and I'm not saying it's any different now, was so strong, was if you had any type of inclination that you felt that this wasn't right, then don't do it.
Right.
And they passed that along because that's what worked for them.
That's what worked for them.
That's what worked for them. And so I believe they only wanted, it was just the best intentions. Because red lipstick I thought was going to send me to hell. It's definitely going to send you to hell,
Right. It's so crazy. But, to each his or her own.
Yeah.
That's how it is there. I don't know if it's like that still, but that always was crazy to me.
Yeah.
It was always crazy.
Yeah.
Red nail polish? No, you can't wear that in here.
It's over. So you also called your first this debut album 12.
Right, not 4.
That's Beyonce. And so you called it your first offering to the world. Why?
Why 12 or why that's my first offering?
Yes, why?
I mean that's essentially what it is. It's my first offering to the world. I've always been behind the scenes doing work for other people. So this was the first thing that I could take out and say, here, this is mine. This is my thing. Listen to it, enjoy it, feel it, love on it, let it love on you. Go love on some other people, and but that's what it is. It's my, it's my offering to, to the world.
And so you were actually leading to my next question. 12. Is that number significant for something?
It's I have to explain this a lot. And it's on my blog probably a couple times. But 12 is a number that's around us that we don't really pay attention to. And being believers, the number of disciples that Jesus had. That was his complete number. The number of hours in the day, number of hours at night, is 12. The calendar year until we cycle back around is 12. So it just kind of represents a number of completion. So this was the very first thing that I actually completed myself. So that's what made it significant for me. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go real deep on me.
I mean, I could keep going, and
Give us a little bit.
You are listening to Good Girl Radio.
You're listening to Good Girl Radio.
Like she just looks like she smells good.
She probably does. I can see Janet smelling good, like even after on stage. Even after dancing around for an hour.
Just flowers.
Yeah, she just smells amazing. Now you want one person that smells good all the time. Erykah Badu.
Really?
All the time.
What does she smell like? Because I feel like there's probably a stereotypical.
She doesn't smell like that.
Okay. Because the dreads and the earthiness and
she doesn't smell like that. She smells like strawberries.
I wasn't expecting strawberries.
Yeah, maybe like Don Chopper and strawberries.
Okay.
So kind of that thing.
But
not really.